Alright guys, looks like the stream is up. So, turn that off, I accidentally didn't mute the computer. Everything looks like it's running okay, so I'm going to try to stream Mega Man 2 tonight start to finish. It's my favorite Mega Man game. I haven't played all the Mega Mans, but this one was always my favorite when I was a kid. And it's not the most difficult one. I can't promise that I will definitely beat it, but at the same time, you know, it's one of the easier ones that I've played. So I'm going to try to do a full run of it tonight for Super Tuesday. So Mega Man 2 for Super Tuesday. And we'll see how this thing goes. And one thing I'm really excited about with this stream is that, you know, Mega Man 2 has my favorite Mega Man music in it, and actually just some of my favorite music as in general from any video game, especially an old retro one. So, and for anybody who happens to come in at any point, I'll just apologize in advance for anybody who watches the video. I'm having to use some different audio equipment because of some technical issues that I'm having, so just kind of bear with it if you are here. But let's get started. I'm going to show you the order that I usually go in. There's a bunch of different orders you could go in, but Metal Man's ability is so overpowered in this game that I usually start with him and then use his weapon throughout most of the boards. And he, let's see, if I recall correctly, I don't think he was the first boss that I ever fought when I first rented this game, so okay. And I am playing this on a Nintendo Wii U, so I got to get used to the controls a little bit. I'm not really used to having 4 buttons to press. Usually I would just play this on regular Nintendo. And from what I understand, like sometimes the way the graphics work on this game, there will be times where Mega Man sort of flashes, and I don't know if he's going to be able to be seen on the stream the entire time, so I'll try to be as careful as I can with that. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of play through this thing and see what happens. So I think, if I recall, it's been a while since I played this game, but I think if you have some of the... I think this is the first game that has... Now, I think Rush comes in maybe the third game, but anyway, you get some items that you can use in the boards to get different, you know, items that are stuck up in different places. So if I had one of those items before coming here, I could have got that one up a minute ago, but I still always feel like Mega Man's board is, or Metal Man's board is worth playing first because his weapon is so overpowered and you can use it against not only several bosses, but really to help you throughout a lot of the boards. So like, example, I could get that energy tank if I had one of the items, but I do not, so I'm just going to have to keep rolling. So far, so good. Alright, we made it to Metal Man. So this is the first boss I'm going to fight. We made it to him without too much issue. He's not super hard, you just kind of have to jump around and shoot. And, you know, luckily, you don't really need any other boss's weapons to beat him. His little life bar is the one in red over there, and then mine is the one in white. I don't know how many, especially if any younger people show up, I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen Mega Man games before, but general principle is you start off with 8 different bosses. You can go to any board that you want to, so you get to decide which way to go. Every time you beat a board and beat a boss, then you get to have his attack that you can use, and then usually it will damage another boss. Oops. It'll usually damage another boss like twice as much as your normal weapon, so it's always good to figure out a good pattern to go in. So Metal Man is the first one that I beat, and I remember that his weapon works against Woodman pretty well, which would make sense. So I'm going to fight Woodman next. And I got my trusty Mello Yellow here for a run tonight. And is that Crazy Kyle I see that is on the list? Is that you, buddy? If so, give me a quick hello in the chat. So these bat creatures are actually pretty normal throughout most of the Mega Man universe, but I'm going to start using Metal Man's weapon. As you can see, you can technically run out of the weapon, but a lot of times these enemies will drop these power pellet things that allow you to get special weapon ammo back. The ones that guy just dropped right there are for health. Those little ones, the ones that shine the different color, are for your weapon. Plus, the cool thing about Metal Man's weapon is that you can aim it, so you can go up, or diagonal, or straight, or down. So that's what makes his weapon so overpowered, is that you can aim it in addition to it actually doing a lot of damage. Okay, here I'm just going to be careful because I don't want to take too much extra damage. And he just dropped a big one of those things, so that should fill me back up with the weapon. That's another thing, Metal Man's weapon takes a lot of charges for you to run out, so usually you can get power-ups to reload. So it's just kind of easy to run through a lot of these boards completely with Metal Man's weapon. And those little guys right there are like the easiest things to kill over and over again to, like, you know, basically get as many power-ups as you need. Oop. I don't want to take a cheap death anywhere by accidentally falling. Alright, got a little bit of ways to go here. So as you can see, if you had your normal weapon, you wouldn't be able to shoot that guy at a diagonal. So that's part of what makes Metal Man's weapon so good on these boards. And then these guys jump. I can't remember exactly how I have to position myself to get them to miss. Alright, so pretty much no issue getting to Woodman here. Metal Man's weapon is probably going to do so much damage that I can actually take a couple hits from Woodman. I think mostly I just have to jump over his shield and then fire off a couple shots here. Yeah, as you can see, just one more round and I should have him, no problem. There you go. So, sort of the premise of this game is finding the weapons that work against bosses. And when I first played this game as a kid, you know, if you didn't have Nintendo Power, or if you didn't have the specific issue of Nintendo Power that had this game in it, you wouldn't know what weapons worked against who. And that was actually part of the fun, is going through and trying to figure out which boss was weak to whatever. And it made the game actually play a lot longer than it would now that I know all the runs. So, okay, so Woodman's weapon, I believe, hurts Airman. So I'm going to fight Airman first. Or I guess next. And Airman's stage is actually really difficult. It's got my favorite music in it, though. There's a really great sort of metal or rock cover of this that this band called the Mini Bosses did. They cover video game music, and I really like their cover of this song. But basically, Airman's stage is really difficult because it's the stage where if you make one mistake, you fall and you die. So it's like, you know, it's one thing to die from getting hit too many times. It's another thing to die from just falling into a pit. So this is where it starts getting pretty difficult right here. I'm actually going to be relatively quiet during this part and try to focus. Okay, doing good so far. Hopefully we can keep it up here. One more, and that should do it. I think there's only a couple more spots where I'll have to jump into the air. And again, these egg guys are good for filling your weapon and stuff back up. Right now I'm in good shape, so don't really need it. And then in these guys, you just fall. And a lot of times I do poorly here because my patience is low. If you just mistime that by just a fraction of a second, you end up getting hit and knocked back exactly like that. That's exactly what just happened. And now I might even have to go back to the beginning. Okay, luckily at the checkpoint. Now, as far as I know, there is no special reward for beating this game without using a continue. I've done it one time. I was gonna, potentially attempt to do it tonight, but it's not really a big deal. And I'm gonna have to wait. There we go, much better. Sometimes a little patience is all you need. Oh. Alright, we're almost there, I think. Here we go. So this is Airman. The weapon that works against him is Woodman's, but Woodman has a shield, and then when you move it fires, so you actually have to jump over the air things that Airman shoots before it can hit him. So we're not doing too hot right now. There we go. Let's see if this is Kyle over here in the chat. If so, if that's you, Kyle, hello. If not, then KK30A. Pretty sure that's Kyle, but if not, thanks for coming in and joining. You were the only person watching at the moment. Item 2 completed, get your weapons ready. So occasionally when you beat a boss, you get not only the boss's weapon, but you get an extra sort of ability that Dr. Light, who's kind of the good guy behind you, who created you. Mega Man's supposed to be some type of robot, character. But he gives you some extra items to use, so these will help throughout the boards. Okay, so Airman's weapon works against Crash Man. So let's go beat Crash Man. I always thought Crash Man was pretty cool when I was young. His music is very interesting as well. So, per the usual, totally unfair, we're going to equip Metal Man's weapon again. It's just so imbalanced because, it allows you to shoot in all directions. So if you were just going through a lot of these boards with just your Mega Buster, it'd be really difficult to beat a lot of these boards. Oop. That was not my greatest moment ever. So a lot of boards in this game end up having these moving platforms, which, here they can just be a little annoying. Later on in the game, there'll be like a lot of times where you have to nail it perfectly And if you don't, then like that, you'll get knocked down and you'll actually die. Let's see, what does number 2 do? Okay. Let's see if I can... Oh, that would have been great. Now let's try again. Okay, I'm actually going to have to try to not mess this up this time. So as you can see, whenever you get on these platform parts of these levels, you just gotta hang in there and just wait. Which used to really frustrate me as a kid. If I get knocked down, I start playing poorly. I think if I recall correctly on this one, they've got a cool effect where the higher you climb, the darker it gets. I think it becomes like nighttime or something. Let's see if I'm remembering this correctly. So I'm going to use the second item here real quick, just so I can avoid getting hit by that guy. Make sure I don't fall. Yeah, there you go. You see the background got a little bit darker. And it will continue to get darker the higher we move up. Okay, there we go. Those birds can be really good for getting your health back. Oops, I almost fell there. There we go, that's what I need right there. Let's see if we can climb up without too much issue. Alright, thank goodness. That was a good shot right there, got lucky on that one. I'm gonna have to kill that bird before he drops his stuff. There we go. Luckily on most of these boards, not all of them, but on most of them you can use Metal Man, and even if you run out of some of his ammo, you don't need it on the bosses. So I'm going to see if I can use this to get up here real quick. Excellent. So I got an energy tank there, which is great. Energy tanks give you full life again. And those will, you know, save you when you get deep into a board and don't want to have to start the board over. Let's see if I can get back to full health. And full, there we go. I guess not that I really needed that. Okay, Crash Man. He jumps around a lot. You just kind of have to jump with him and use Airman's weapon, which shoots little bursts of air up into the sky. So, and I think you only got to hit him twice. Yeah, so I know that looked easy, but it would have been a lot harder as a kid if you didn't know that Airman's weapon killed him. Alright, we're moving right along. For anybody who's just joining us or sees this later, I've got a picture of all of the bosses in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And that would, you know, if you want to compare and contrast, you can see that that's all 8 of them. And I've already knocked off 4 of them. So the next boss that is weak to Crash Man's weapon is actually Quick Man. But to get through Quick Man's stage, I'm going to need Flash Man's ability. His is less of a weapon and more of a, I guess, an ability that you can use in the middle of stages to stop time. And I like his music a lot in his stage, but more importantly, I always get a bit of a nostalgia trip when I come in here because this was the very first board that I ever played in Mega Man 2. When, just to give you a little backstory, when I was a kid, the first Mega Man game I ever played was actually the first one. And the first time that I rented Mega Man, it was kind of a big deal because I rented it from Blockbuster Video, and it was the first rental that I ever had from Blockbuster Video. And the reason why that was such a big deal was because, oops, I'm gonna have to use this here, or just run. The reason that was such a big deal is because Blockbuster Video allows you to keep the games for 3 days. So you would get to keep it, like, you know, you'd rent it on Friday, for example, after school, and you could keep it Friday night, Saturday, and then Sunday. You'd have to return it by the nighttime on Sunday. Now, every video game store that I had gone to before that was more of like a mom and pop store, and you would have to bring the game back after only one night, or at least everywhere that was around my house. Oh, that worked out great. So basically, Mega Man was the first game that I got to keep the entire weekend. I rented it on Friday, you know, got to keep it on Saturday night. Oh, this is bad if I miss. Alright, good. Here I can use Crash Man. Anytime you see these walls, Crash Man's ability can get rid of them. Now, if I don't make this jump, I'm just gonna do this to make it easy. Okay. So anyway, I rented Mega Man 1 and loved it, thought it was great. I never quite beat it, but later on I found Mega Man 2, and when I brought it home, you know, at first, the first thing that I noticed was, oh, this has got 8 bosses instead of 6, which I thought was great. So I decided to play Flashman stage first. So this was the first stage I ever played, and I think I beat it if I recall correctly. So, fun trip down memory lane. Now, the time stopper allows time to be stopped, obviously. But one thing that Flashman can do is he can shoot his weapon when he stops time. So if I had fought him for longer, he would have frozen me and then shot me. Mega Man can't do that with it. He can just stop time. So there's a part of Quickman's board, excuse me, where these beams come in, and if you touch any of them, you die. So basically, you need Flashman's ability because it makes it a lot easier to get past those. So that's the whole reason why I need his stuff. Alright, let's see how this goes. Actually, I want to get that one up because I lost. There's weapon number 3, or item 3, I guess would be a better way to put it. Also great music here. I'm telling you, Mega Man 2 has some of the greatest video game music of all time, especially for the NES era. So there's those beams I was talking about. They start coming, and the only way to stop them is with Flashman's ability, but oh, I got lucky there. I don't think it was supposed to work like that. I really hit that beam, but I guess I had that post-hit invincibility, so got a little lucky. Okay. So the next time that we see the beams, I'm going to have to use Flashman's ability. And they'll be coming up here in just a minute. Let's get it ready, just in case. Alright, here we go. Okay, I don't want to use it until the absolute last second that I need to. Okay, so far so good. Well, as it turns out, looks like I managed to get by it without using Flashman's ability, which I guess for the purposes of this stream looked really good. I don't think I've ever done it that way before, but I'll take it. So sometimes when as you can see, the big machine can sometimes drop items. If that ever happens and it's a health item, a lot of times I'll just take the damage from the guy who gets dropped because I know that I'm going to recover it. So, wow, this stage actually went super well. So Crashman's weapon actually, like every time you shoot it, it doesn't just take one bar away. So you kind of have to get lucky because Quickman is obviously quick and he moves around fast. But if you can hit him with either that or the explosion of it, it does a lot of damage to him. And there we go. Alright, get equipped with Quick Boomerang. Alright, we only got 2 guys left. Bubble Man is up next because Quickman's ability kills him. And sometimes, I remember when I was a kid, I figured out different ways to run the game. And I did have some ways in which I would run the game with Bubble Man first. Because his board is not too bad. And his ability will kill Heat Man. And then, if I recall, I think Heat Man you get one of the items that you can use on later stages. But again, as long as the end result is the same, it doesn't really matter. And I'll do it. This has got great music on this board as well. Alright, so the obligatory water stage, almost every Mega Man has some type of water stage in it, and really, just about every action platformer after it has one, probably because Mega Man did it. Of course, I could be wrong about that. Some of that could have been from Mario Brothers. That wasn't too bad. And the cool thing about, if anybody's never played a Mega Man game before that happens to see this stream, the jumping mechanics are always different in water. So you always jump much higher in the water than you do normally outside the water. So you have to be really careful. They usually put these spikes in these boards because they want you to have to be cognizant of, the way that you jump. So a lot of times you have to jump less than the full amount so you don't hit the spikes. So that's why I'm always super careful with my jumps there. And we're back out, so now our jump is back to normal. Oh, got really lucky on that one. I actually was concerned about that happening. It's always bad to take a cheap hit and then die. Okay, I actually think Metal Man's weapon works against Bubble Man. I don't think it's the perfect weapon. I think Boomerang is, but I've already got it equipped, and I don't think it's a super big deal, so I'll just keep it out and knock this thing out real quick. There we go. Easy enough. Alright, get equipped with Bubble Lead. Or Lead. Whatever it is. So we're down to 1 boss left. Heat Man. Which, I guess this is probably a bad story to be telling, especially since I'm a teacher, but when I was a kid, or I guess not even a kid, when I was in high school, I took a computer typing class at my school, And I know this is going to sound goofy, but I actually was like a really good typer, and I could always get my work done super fast. So, oh, nice. Got lucky on that one. So, this was during the time when, like things like Napster had just started coming onto the scene. Oh, ooh, that could have been really bad. And so, like, also I discovered Nintendo ROMs. So I basically installed an NES emulator on my computer at school. Like, it was a desktop computer, which was the one that I was assigned to in class. And I think I put, I don't know which emulator it was. It might have been Nesticle or whatever, but anyway, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that I stuck that on there, and I put Mega Man 2 on there, and there's a part in this board here in a minute, which is technically, I think, the hardest part of any regular Mega Man 2 board, where you gotta jump on these disappearing platforms to get across this really long, oh goodness, to get across this really long lava thing. Now, if you have item number 2, you don't have to do that. So, I actually made a point, and for the record, for anybody that knows, like, if you didn't have like a remote control or whatever to connect to your computer, you would just have to like assign buttons on the keyboard, which was actually really difficult to play with. So one time in my life I played this game, I made a point to play it and beat this board without using item number 2. And it was that time at school, and I did it without a remote control, and I've always been super proud of that. Oh my gosh, I deserve that. Got to be more careful about that. Let's try this again. So long story short, I actually have beaten this full board before, without using item number 2, and I did it with a computer keyboard, which is really hard to do. But today I'm going to avoid doing that. Hopefully I won't make the same mistake again. Wow. That is terrible. Okay, I even literally just said it. Alright, I'm going to actually focus this time. It'd be embarrassing if I do it 3 times in a row. Here we go. Alright, much better. Alright, now we're coming upon, I believe, the part that, yeah, here we go. So you have to get across this whole thing without missing a single jump. Now you can say, no thank you, and just ride item number 2 the whole way. But one time I did that just for fun on the keyboard. And one time was enough. I'd rather avoid doing it again if I have to. Alright. Almost down here. And Bubble Man's item is what works against Heat Man. And here we go. And that's it. Alright, so for anyone who's never seen a Mega Man game before, once you beat all 8 of the bosses, you then have to go fight Dr. Wily. And basically his castle, which has a really cool graphic, by the way. It's got a giant skull on top of it. His castle is usually, several boards long, like 4, 5, 6 boards, with a boss at the end of each one, and you kind of have to figure out which weapon works against that boss. So I'm going to have to remember which ones work and which ones don't. And these boards are usually significantly harder than the regular boards. So hopefully we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it'll go well. So there's Dr. Wily. There's his castle. Very cool. Cool music. And now for some of the most famous music in this game. Now, one thing that's interesting about this is that you actually have to kind of game plan your weapon abilities, because at the end of these boards you don't get your items back. So for example, I had to use a little bit of that item number 3 to get up there, but if I keep going and beat this board, I won't get that back when I go to the next board. So I need to make sure that I keep filled up on all the items as we go, because sometimes, not actually with weapons too, but a lot of times with the items, there'll come places like this where you literally have to use one of the items to get by. Let's see. All right. See, we got Cray Crack. Hello. Hey man, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Just having a nice, fun run through of Mega Man 2. And if you're still there, sorry if I missed your comment for a few minutes. Have you ever played this game before, or is this a game that you like to play? I'm not actually like any kind of special pro at it. I just really enjoy it, and decided that on Super Tuesday, a retro game with 2 in it would be a good choice, so I went with this one. Okay, so as I pointed out earlier, the Metal Man weapon is really effective for moving throughout a lot of these boards, because you can aim it and you don't really hardly ever run out of ammo with it, so I'm going to be utilizing it a good bit. Now this is where you need to use item number 1 to get across, but you need to kind of start down at the bottom of that ladder so that you have enough room to maneuver. Sometimes you can make it without having to use that last one, but it's just a safer bet. Okay, and this is the section that always causes a lot of trouble. I do remember that this boss is weak to the quick boomerang, but it's a dragon, and you have to do a series of jumps, which a lot of times I die right here. See, Cray Crack says, yeah, played all Mega Man games and bad at them. Oh, I hear you, man. I'm not very good at any of them either. I actually haven't even played them all. I saw that the Mega Man Legacy Collection came out recently, and I am thinking about picking it up on 3DS, or at least it came out on 3DS recently. And I think I'm going to try to pick it up, because there's a lot of Mega Man games that I haven't played. Okay, I got lucky there. I remember a trick from when I was a kid that the best way to get by this guy quickly is just to hit him a bunch of times, so luckily I was able to kill him before he popped me. But yeah, the Legacy Collection just came out on 3DS. I was thinking about picking it up because I've played Mega Man 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I think I got a Super Nintendo when I was a kid and never played 5 or 6. So it's something that I'd actually like to check out. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the aspects about moving through Mega Man 2 is you have to balance your weapon and item abilities, and they don't carry over from board to board. So anytime you start a board and they give you an opportunity to farm, you know, typically it's a pretty decent idea to do it. And I don't think I have anything. Yeah, I should be okay. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and bounce on over here. There we go. I knew there was some kind of trick to this. So Craig Crack, if you're still in here watching, do you have a favorite Mega Man game? Because, I mean, I've played Mega Man 2 probably more than any of the others. Is there another Mega Man game that you like the best? Or one that you would ever like to see streamed or something like that? And I'm actually going to make a point to get these items, because if possible I'd like to beat this without using a continue. So the extra lives, and especially the health, are really going to help that. Okay. I don't fully remember what happens here. So a lot of times if I fire ahead and I see that I've got a health boost waiting on me, I'll just kind of I'll take the hit because I know I can refill. Alright, here we go. I think item 3 is the one that works here. Have to be careful not to jump too early, or else you'll get hit by the spikes here. And those spike guys always remind me of Castlevania, the original Castlevania game, because I think in the second board in particular, there's some of those spikes that come down. So Craig Craig, no, not really. Did you happen to ever play the Mega Man X series on Super Nintendo? I really like Mega Man X1, but I actually never got around to playing any of the other ones, so those are other games I'd like to play as well. Okay. I think the wall comes out. Yeah, okay, here we go. I gotta be careful here. 2 hits per. And they start moving faster. I think we got one more to go. Take that back. Okay, I took a risk there without using my energy pack, but it worked out. Okay, so that's level 2 down. I think we got 3 to go. We'll try to replenish some of our items at the next board. And I think the next one has the tank boss. And I think they've changed the music. Yeah, so this is the first time in the game that we get this music, which I think is really cool. And if you listen to it, it just keeps going up, like goes up a half a step in terms of the scale each time. Alright, let's go up here and try to get this energy pack. Ooh, got really lucky right there. And got a 1-up. Now, and I don't think it's this board, but the next one, there's actually, you have to use the Crashman item to actually beat the boss. And so, I'm going to have to, you know, while I'm moving throughout this board, try to go back and make my Crashman weapon as full as possible, because I will definitely need it. Again, I think it's the 4th level, but since the items don't replenish, I think there's a fish right here somewhere. There he is. I'm going to have to keep that full as much as possible. Oh, I jumped too far. I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful. Luckily, I won't have to stop and get that stuff this time. So I can just get right back down to it. Alright, let's try to be a little bit more careful this time. There we go. Okay, this is actually a pretty difficult part. I'm going to have to remember how to guide myself through this area, but you have to be really precise with the movements. Okay, so far so good. You glide a lot further in the water, so you kind of have to be careful when you move through here. There we go. At this point, I'd really like to get it. There it is. That's what I want. Get some of my Metal Man weapons back up. And here's the tank boss. And if I recall, I believe his weakness is the quick boomerang. So that's 2 bosses out of 3 so far that has been weak to that. Whoops. So you can see I'm playing this on Wii U. There we go. No problem so far. Now this next board, the boss is actually like a room full of walls that you have to break with Crash Man's weapon, and then you have to actually fire those same Crash Man weapons into the missiles that are shooting at you. So if you break every wall, you won't have enough of Crash Man's weapon to beat them. Go ahead and make sure that's full. Get some 3 back. So I'm going to have to be really careful when I get there about which ones to hit. Or you can purposely go in and break the walls first, then die on purpose, go back out, refill on your item, and when you go back in, the walls won't be there anymore. So that's sort of a bit of an exploit you can use. But we'll cover that when we get there. And I believe this is the board that has some holes in the ground. We'll go ahead and get this life down here. We've got 6 lives. I have not used a continue so far. I wasn't really planning on beating the game without using a continue, but since we're already this far, you know, I'd like to be able to do it if possible. And there's one of the holes in the ground. Later on, there are spots where there are holes in the ground where sometimes I just use items to get by so I don't have to worry about them. For example, this one right here, there might not even be a hole in the ground, but I know that if there is, that I'm going to immediately die. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this and ride across. Not take any chances. Now here, there's a hole in the ground right here, so a lot of times what I do is use weapon number 1 to get it, and then I don't have to worry about trying to jump over the hole. The hardest part about this board is about to come up though, because there's a room, or several rooms in a row. I think the link begins right here. Okay, this is what I was referencing earlier when I was playing Crash Man stage. These rooms can be very difficult because if you get knocked off even one time, you'll die. So you got to make sure that you're fully aware of what you have to do. For example, if I hadn't jumped right there, I would have died. And I have to jump here. And Craig Crack says, can't wait for Nintendo to show off the NX. Yeah, if you don't mind, I haven't been keeping up with it completely. Is that like their new system that they're going to be releasing? And because I read something a while back saying that they've got like a new system that's going to be totally different from anything else they've ever released. Is that what the NX is? And do you have any idea sort of what they're planning to do with it? Because I'd be really interested to know. Alright, I think there's like 2 more of these rooms, so if I can get by here, I should be in good shape. And I'm just going to go ahead and use item number 2 here because I don't want to take any risks. Oh, that was not smart. Okay, I'm good. Alright, a lot of times I'll just take hits from these guys because it's really hard to not get hit by them sometimes. Okay, so this is the boss room. I gotta use Crashman's weapon, but I need to be selective about which walls I break. So technically I don't have to break that one. I'm gonna try to get around it. But I do know that I have to break this one for sure, or else I can't fire at the other one. It would be definitely in my best interest to break this one. Okay, and let's see, I'm going to go ahead and break that while I'm here. Let's go ahead and climb up here. And I know I have to break this one. So the real question is do I have enough? I don't think I've got enough. Yeah, I don't. So I'm just going to go ahead and break that wall. And that way the next time that I come in, I'm going to go ahead and refill. And the next time I come in, all those walls will be broken. So there's lots of rumors going around about the NX. Yeah, I think I want to say I read something recently where it said that it was going to be a completely different type of console, maybe one that they had never done before. So I'm kind of curious to know, if it's going to be focused at all on how, like a controller in hand and playing a game, or if they're going to do like body control stuff. But as in general, I mean, Nintendo has released so many good systems and whatnot. Like, I always had a Nintendo growing up, and I had a Super Nintendo, and then an N64, and I had a GameCube. In fact, I don't think there's been a Nintendo console in terms of the main ones that I haven't had yet. And I even made a point last year to buy a 3DS, even though I hadn't had a handheld in a long time, and I was really glad that I made that purchase. A lot of good old games on there, but also games like Monster Hunter that I really enjoyed. Let's see. And Crack, if you're still watching, just out of curiosity, do you have sort of like a favorite type of game or a favorite game system? Like, you mentioned that you play the Mega Man games. Are you more of like a current gamer, like playing PlayStation and Xbox stuff, or do you like retro games or computer games? And again, here I'm going to use item 2 just to be careful. Okay, at this point, I actually have to beat a bunch of these over and over again because I have to refill on my items, and that's perfect. Alright, let's get Crashman out. Now, if I can just get one more of those, I should be in really good shape. And that is not what we want right there at all. Okay. Whoops. Perfect. Now that should be enough for us to beat the board. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll back in there, and if I have to, I will use a health bar. You've owned all Nintendo consoles as well. Cool, man. Okay. Now I can take some damage here, but the main thing is just to make sure that we get all of these. Oh, that's really bad. Hopefully that explosion will still get it. Okay. And one to go. We should be good. Alright, so now we can move on to the end of this game. I think this is the last board before we get to the final version of Dr. Wily. Okay, so at the end of Mega Man 2, and this is usually something that shows up a good bit in some of the Mega Man games, we gotta fight every single boss one more time. So the only difficult part is that I don't have full usage of all the items, but I should have most of the ones that I need, although Crash Man, I need to refill that one because I think that I can use that on one of Dr. Wily's last boss forms. So there's no huge rhyme or reason. I'm just going to go in the order that they give it to me. Okay. And I don't think that any of these guys drop items to refill your weapons. I think it's just health, so... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I lost the chance to get that health. Okay. I shouldn't take too much damage here. Alright, and then the next one I should be able to refill as well. So it's currently got an Xbox and a PC. Cool, man. You're talking about like the Xbox One. I actually don't even have any friends that I know of that have that console. I've got a few friends that have a PlayStation 4 and several friends that play PC games, but I haven't played much on Xbox lately. I used to have a 360. Oh, I forgot here you can use Flashman's ability to take down some of his health. Something I completely forgot about. There we go. Alright, Crash Man, yep. So all we gotta do is hit him twice with Airman. Very good. Who do we have left? Metal Man and Flashman, I believe. And I don't really remember who damages Metal Man, so I'm just going to shoot him with the regular weapon. It's not going to do too much damage to me anyway. And I believe Flashman was the last one. And I think we can use Metal Man's item on him. And we won't be using Metal Man's weapon anymore after this. So it doesn't even matter if we run out. Okay, unfortunately we're out of Crash Man weapon, which actually, if I recall correctly, damages this one. And I literally don't even have any. Okay, this is just going to take multiple energy packs, and to be honest, I don't even really care if I use all of them, because if I can just get past this, we're basically on the final form of Dr. Wily. And I don't think I'll need an energy pack for him. And I think Quick Man maybe hits this one. Alright, there we go. Well, Cray Crack, if you are still hanging out, looks like you're still here. I appreciate you coming by. This should be the last part of the game. We go into an underground lair where we fight Dr. Wily one more time. And if I recall correctly, if I just run almost straight through this board, none of the little, there's some little blobs that fall from the ceiling. I think I should be like slightly ahead of their fall pattern. And then we fight Dr. Wily one last time. And I think the only weapon that hurts him here is the Bubble Man. So he turns into a alien, which I remember as a kid thinking that was super weird. But cool background, and you'll kind of see why he turns into an alien in a minute. But his weapon isn't too hard to dodge. And so we'll just kind of be patient. Plus I have a lot of energy packs, and then this should be the end of the game. We get to watch one of the coolest NES game endings that I remember. It's actually kind of like the end of a movie. Alright, one more hit and we should have it here. Okay, so Dr. Wily is not actually an alien. He's just been using this illusion, during that fight. And that's Mega Man 2. So then we'll get to sit here and watch a really cool movie-style ending for the game. It says, had NES, SNES, N64. Oh man, you had all the systems, including a Dreamcast? I really wish I would have had a Dreamcast growing up. I've heard so many good things about it. I stopped at PlayStation 1. I had friends that had a 2, 3, and a 4. But those are awesome systems. And thanks for following me. I appreciate it, man. Hope you enjoyed watching the game. What I have been doing recently is streaming mostly just retro games. But I definitely stream on Thursday nights. And I've been doing a Zelda series. So I beat Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. And probably this Thursday night I'm going to start streaming Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. Which I can't beat that one in one sitting. I'm just not good enough to do that. So if you want to come back and watch at some point on Thursday when I'm playing or whatever, feel free, and I appreciate you chatting with me. It's always great to have people that interact with you. So thanks a lot, and I'll sit here and let you enjoy this ending real quick. Cool stuff. Great ending. And by the way, I've been having some technical issues with my microphones. So I don't know how well the sound was tonight. I've been having to use the microphone inside the computer because it goes to both left and right ear headphones. Whereas my microphone was only going to one side. So I'm not the most computer savvy person there is. So I've got to figure out how to fix that. So I'm sorry if the sound of my voice is a little out of whack, or if it doesn't balance well with the game, with the game music. So I'll go back and watch this video later and sort of figure out what to do about it and try to fix it for next time. Alright, well that pretty much brings Mega Man 2 to a close. I had a lot of fun playing. It was kind of cool to go back, and luckily was able to get through it without using a continue, which I've only done one time before this, so that was pretty cool. Maybe at some point in the future I'll stream it again, but do it on hard mode, which makes it significantly more difficult. But I'm going to sign off for now, so Cray Crack, again, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great night, and I hope to see you again. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream off.